brace yourself, as the most spectacular history-altering adventure of all time continues in a hit sequel that proves that lightning can strike twice. Marty and Doc, played by Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, have barely recovered from their first time-travelling adventure when they launch themselves once more into the space-time continuum. But this time around, their history-tweaking antics in the year 2015 create a frightful alternate 1985 Hill Valley where bully Biff Tannen is rich, powerful, and Marty's dad. Now their only chance to fix the present is by going back to 1955 all over again. But can Doc and Marty patch up the past without igniting a universe-shredding time paradox? Fire up the trusty DeLorean and find out as the powerhouse team of executive producer Steven Spielberg and directors Robert Zemeckis rev up another round of brilliantly inventive, comically supercharged, time-hopping action in Back to the Future Part 2. So here we are in the middle of the trilogy, Back to the Future Part 2. What do I make of this? Well, this serves up as a worthy sequel to the first one. I wouldn't go so far to say that 2 is better than the original Back to the Future film, but I really do think that it holds up well as a sequel. This came out, of course, 4 years after the original release of Back to the Future. So this film came out in 1989. And it follows directly after the events of the first film, where Doc picks up Marty and his girlfriend Jennifer, now played by Elisabeth Shue, and they go to travel to the future in 2015. And here in this 2015, which happens to be the year that I'm sat in right now, you know, I'm looking outside right now. No, I can't really see any flying cars anywhere. Oh, I just saw one go past. Oh, hang on a sec. No, it was just a bird. Silly me. Yeah. They predicted quite a few things for the future in this film. This is 2015, as if it's 30 years on from 1985. Just like how in the first film we went to 30 years before 1985. But just think for a second, right? The first Back to the Future film came out in 1985, right? We're nearly in 2016. Does that mean that we're further away now than when Marty even ever went? Like, to either destination? Like, Marty went to 1955, and now we're further away from 1985 than what he was in the first and second films. I mean, in the third one he goes to 1885, but we'll talk more about that when we go on to part 3. But yeah, they predicted quite a few things for this film. We had the flying cars, which... Well, there are flying cars, but they're not, like, everywhere. They're very rare, and there's, like, only a select number in the whole world, and... Well, I've not seen one of them flying about, so... Unfortunately, we can cross that off the list. It's still not happened. We've got hoverboards, again, they're Jaws 19. There's been no Jaws films since Jaws of Revenge, so that doesn't count. Although you could say there's a countless number of rip-offs like Big Blue Sea and all that crap, but they don't count. Or Deep Blue, whatever the hell it's called, I don't know. And the Piranha films, which also has Christopher Lloyd in those films as well. Yeah, what else is there? There's trying to think. What else did they predict? Self-tying shoes. They can do that now. But apart from that, aside from all the predictions, I think what is presented here in this film is a very dystopian future where it's, you got all your flying cars and all that type of thing. Everyone's dressing in an awkward way, and everyone has their pockets inside out. So let's have our pocket inside out. There we go. This is how we should dress now. Pockets are inside, actually. It feels really uncomfortable. I'm going to put them back in. That's really uncomfortable. There we go. They basically go to the future to save the kids, Marty McFly Jr., who also happens to be played by Michael J. Fox. Very good idea using Michael J. Fox again, even though in reality he wouldn't look exactly like how his dad did 30 years before, but I suppose the filmmakers went with that decision and thought, yeah, let's just do it. We have drones as well. Drones are a real thing. I've seen drones. And you see a few drones in this film. So yeah, they got a few predictions right and they got a few wrong, but hey, I still bloody like it. And now this is set in the past. Yes. So they go to the future in this film, but now in reality it's in the past because it was October 21st, 2015, and we are now coming to the end of November 2015, so yeah. All that stuff that happened, it's all in the past. Or you might be saying, oh, just forget the past. Oh, but this is Back to the Future. We can't forget about Back to the Future. Oh, no. So, yeah, really, this title, Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Really, it should be called Back to the Past now, but Back to the Future sounds much better, doesn't it? It really does. So, yeah, the plot of the film. They go forward in time to save kids. They do that successfully. Marty accidentally buys a almanac because he thinks, yeah, let's take one back in time, I can win a few bets. But Doc says, oh no, you can't do that, and change the course of history and all that. But an old Biff, an elderly Biff, overhears this, and he realises that they've come from the past. They're time travellers. And Biff gets hold of the almanac and he drives a time machine back to 1955 to give to his younger self. Genius. But he has precautions because the old Biff ends up getting killed in the process because he will no longer exist. So yeah, all sorts of stuff is going on. And I think with this particular film, with this sequel, you have to watch it more than once. I think it's a little more complicated than the first one in terms of all the time travel stuff, because we've got an alternate 1985, like an alternate reality and all that type of thing, which is explained very well by Doc Brown. And what happens is they end up going back to 1955, and there's a few nods to the first film in there, which you need because, you know, the first film is a classic in its own right. Even if you never watched the second and third ones, you need to see the first one, because the first one is just one of the best examples of cinema. I've said that in my review anyway, so I don't need to repeat myself. And, you know, we see all these scenes going on again, except this time they're done a little bit differently because Marty and Doc have come back, so now there's two Martys and there's two Docs in 1955. And there's some very good stuff. We get another chase with Marty and Biff. Marty tries to obviously get the almanac back from Biff, the young Biff, so he can go back to 1985 and hopefully everything's normal again. He does this successfully with Biff going to another manure truck. He absolutely hates manure. He does this in all three of the films. Well, third one it's not Biff, but you get the idea. It's Thomas F. Wilson's character, whoever he plays. He basically just runs into manure and they hate manure. And they end up getting the almanac back successfully, yay! And then all of a sudden DeLorean ends up accidentally getting sent back to 1885. And Marty is stranded, so he can only get the help from one person, Doc Brown. The 1955 version of Doc Brown, not the 1985 version of Doc Brown. And so the film ends. And I think this is, like I said, it's a very, very good sequel to the first film. I enjoy watching this as much as the first one. I don't feel that this is in any way inferior to the first one. And I feel exactly the same about the third one as well. I think this is one of the best trilogies of all time, so you can't really argue with me about which one is the worst one out of them. I don't really have a least favourite out of the whole trilogy, in my opinion. But out of the whole trilogy, I think the first one's probably the best because it's the most memorable of them all. But I think the second and the third one, as I will say when I go to review that, I think the second one, it expands on what the first one did good. You get to know more about the characters that we met in the first film. And you see all these new characters, although some of them are just played by the same actor, and you get to see the future, you get to see 1955 again. You get to see an alternate 1985. There's more going on in this film than the first film, because in the first one, all we got was 85 and 55. And I really do think that it works very well. I enjoy watching this all the time. I don't think it's perfect as the first film, but I think it's near perfect, so I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. I think that the cast do a brilliant job once again. Robert Zemeckis, brilliant director, and you can see hints of Spielberg in there, especially in the futuristic scenes, because it's very dystopian, and some of Spielberg's films, he's best at doing sci-fi, dystopia, all that type of thing. So I really think that this is a really good thing because Spielberg is like the man. He's probably the most famous director right now. Well, he is the most famous director right now, maybe ever. So, yeah, 9.5 out of 10. Great follow-up to the first film. And all around, a just really good movie. And if you've seen the first one and you loved it so much and for some reason you've not seen this or the third one, then go and see it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a great sequel. It's not often that I say that a sequel is this good, so go out and see it. It's a great film. Don't forget to click the link below to subscribe to me, James Croft, aka the Obsesstuvian 95. Have a great day.